I was very intrigued by playing a villain, quote unquote villain, but reading the script, I realized it was much more complex than that. And yeah, I just immediately was like it wasn't a want, it was a need to play this role, I'd say.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with it. I was sent the script, and obviously I was familiar with the title, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. They're remaking
Hmm.
Behind the Rock's Cradle. And then I read the script, and I had a really rare experience because I didn't know anyone involved. I didn't know Michelle's work at all. But I kind of closed the script and just went like, wow, I want to do this. And usually I'm a little bit more, cautious if I don't really know the filmmaker and I don't know all the elements, but I just knew like there's something special here. This is not a typical kind of film. It's just something really special about it. And then I went and watched Michelle's film, and I was so blown away by that. And I was like, okay, the collaboration of all of
Yeah.
this together is going to be spectacular. And so yeah, I was like, I was no questions asked, kind of in from the get go.
I think it's modernized in the perfect way, not like trying too hard. It's incredibly grounded and and really, at its core, like a very simple story, a very like look at these two really complicated female characters.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wasn't as familiar with the original other than kind of knowing the title and knowing the feeling, the posters and the trailers and remembering all of that from when it came out. And I kind of just trusted um, like the creative process, and that we had such an amazing leader in Michelle in terms of honoring the original, and I felt that my job as an actor was to bring something new to it, to create a new character. Um, so I kind of focused on that, and I could tell that there were these through lines throughout the script and throughout the project that were nods to the original, that people are gonna really be into and get a kick out of. But there's also like just a totally new film being crafted that really stands on its own. Caitlin is when we first see her in the film, she's a really successful working mom. She's got two kids. One of them is a young baby, and she's sort of trying to find that balance in her life. That a lot of moms are going through these days of, how do I go back to work, or should I stay home, or should I and how for how long should I stay home, and all of those kind of questions, and that kind of leads her to bringing Polly into her life, who is a nanny, and kind of offers her the opportunity to take a little break and take a little load off. And so she decides she's going to take time off work and have a nanny, which is something she's never done before, so that she could just have a little more time to herself. And that kind of opens the door towards this new friendship that starts to blossom between her and her nanny, and maybe boundaries that start being crossed. And so there's this domino effect that starts happening little by little, where the cracks in her start showing. And Polly really starts bringing out kind of what's underneath, and all the fears and anxieties and worries that she lives with. And yeah, it all gets unraveled.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Where does one begin with Polly? um well, when you meet her, you don't totally know what's going on. I think you can feel that something's off. But it takes a couple of scenes to really start to get an uneasy feeling. Um and you don't really know her motives or intentions, and then it kind of like slowly starts to unravel, and the truth kind of slowly surfaces of why she's targeted Caitlyn's character, and is seeking revenge in certain ways, and is carrying a lot of anger, um and yeah, it was I had a blast playing her. That's all I have.
Awesome.
For me, there was a concern with a remake. You don't want to just try and copy the original or have it be this. I don't know. And so I think there was a concern, at least for me, with that. And then when I read the script, it was incredible. And then, um, like you said, seeing Michelle's previous work, I was just like, oh, this is gonna be so interesting. Like her um films in the horror space are so powerful. Um and so imagining her, helming this film, it just was like, oh, absolutely. This actually could be something really magnificent. So, yeah, from the beginning, I had complete faith in her to be able to accomplish this.
Totally. Yeah, I think she's such a true artist and she
Yeah,
has such a knack for horror and she's sort of like, it's so funny because she's in a punk band and so she's got this like
yeah,
kind of hard edge with like, making horror films and things like that, but she's actually like the softest, most lovely human being
yeah,
ever. And I think that's what kind of, it's like the perfect combination of her with this film because it is this like intense, heavy, dark, scary
totally,
film, but it has a heart and it has empathy and it has a softness to it, like an underbelly of compassion in there. And I think that's why she's so suited to that because she actually has her finger on the pulse of what that is all the time and doesn't lose sight of it, even with all the scares and the jumps and all of that stuff. She's still kind of holding on to like the heart of who these characters are, which is an amazing thing.
totally.
Awesome.
I mean, it's two. The story is about two very complex female roles, and so I think it feels right that everyone that's around that's bringing this world and these characters to life are female. So I think it was like very comforting, and it felt safe, and it felt like a really like powerful environment, I think, for everyone involved.
Yeah, and there's an ease to that too. It's sort of like there's like an understanding of the story that we're telling
Totally.
because there is a real female kind of point of view to it in a way, even though, our screenwriter is a very
Yeah.
talented man who wrote the script that I,
Yeah.
connected to so much. But it feels like because it is a story about these women and so much of what they're going through is a uniquely female kind of experience.
Totally.
And so I think just having so many women involved in all these departments just kind of made it so easy. We didn't really have to explain anything. We all kind of got it.
Got
Like
it.
you just know. You know what it is and you know what it's saying without having to explain it to anybody. And so there's a real ease to that as well.